Welcome to another edition of Our City. I'm Mayor Chris Bollwage, and I would like to encourage all of you, all of our residents, to follow our social media platforms, stay up to date on upcoming events throughout our city, and if you have any questions or need to talk with someone, please call our Public Information Office at 908-820-4124. I'm pleased to be joined on this week's show by Miss Angela Zorro, a real estate manager and broker at Lifestyle International Realty. Angela, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So, Angela, the opening question that we always ask our guests is to tell us about yourself. You know, share a little bit about growing up, maybe here in Elizabeth, right?
Yes.
And schooling, family, whatever you want to talk about.
Okay, so I was imported here from Colombia. I came very young. I came to downtown Elizabeth. I'm very blessed to have been able to, we immigrated, my grandmother, my mom, my aunt, and myself. And it was incredibly challenging to grow up in downtown Elizabeth. During that time, it was Pioneer Homes, for those that remember. It was a very challenging area, which is kind of how we reconnected, which I was very grateful to tell you, like, how much I've seen the growth in Elizabeth and the improvement. So that's where I began my, very humble beginnings. I was able to then graduate from Elizabeth High School, graduated top 5% of Elizabeth High at the time when it was just one school, not the multiple.
Angela, you're dating yourself when you do that.
I'm 100% dating myself. I was top 5 of a graduating of 1,096 students, so definitely interested in that part. After that, I married very young. We went to California. After that,
you relocated to California?
Yeah,
okay.
I relocated to California with my husband. At the time, he was Marine. Had eventually 3 girls. Came back to Elizabeth, and I did graduate from Seton Hall. I was able to actually UCC, which is not called Union County College anymore. I'm very dating myself completely, but blessed to get my associates from psychology there, and then go on to Seton Hall for my crim and psych.
What part of Colombia did your family originate from?
Bogota,
the capital.
Yes,
okay.
The capital.
And so you've been here, and you have family too, sisters or brothers?
Half sister in Colombia.
Half sister.
But no, that's it. The only
still in touch, or?
I didn't know about her.
Oh,
I didn't know about
I know
her.
those stories.
Exactly.
That happened to my brother-in-law.
I did not know about her until maybe 14 years ago. Okay. So yes, reconnected a little bit with her. My dad stayed back, so it was just us 3 women that came here.
Oh, good. It's a good story.
Thank you.
And you got into real estate.
Yes.
So before we talk about the book and the story you published, tell us about your career in real estate. Is that your only career? Did you do that right after Seton Hall?
No, I actually, from Seton Hall, I became a Target executive. So that was fun. It was it was interesting because I got to do sales, I got to do internal shrink production, all that corporate life. We were able to be featured on some shows like The View, Jessica Alba's launch, like some, those things. I don't like the word things, but those aspects. Okay. However, I didn't have a life. And I realized that I really wanted to be part of. So your
life was all work?
Exactly.
Okay.
Not that it's changed much now.
No.
But I wanted to have more of an impact with my children. And at the time, my son was recently born, and I felt like I didn't see them. Right. So my daughter, I remember one time, I was very tired, and my daughter said to me, she was saying something to me, and then I sat down, and I fell asleep. Like, I literally passed out in the sofa, and I'm like, what am I doing? I felt like I had no life, and I was like, this isn't the life I want to give my children. I'm grateful that, we were from humble beginnings, so thankfully, money was an issue, everything was in shortage, but I still wanted to have something to come home to. And my kids, I felt like I wasn't raising them anymore. So I quit. I resigned completely. I resigned. I gave them a month notice as gratitude, because I was very grateful for them. It's a great company. I resigned by the time I resigned on a Friday. I started real estate school Monday. No backup plan. And by the grace of God, I think I was able to make it now almost 8 years now.
8 years. So in real estate, it also led you to write your story.
Yes.
And along with other women.
Yes.
on Powerful Immigrant Stories, which you happen to share a book with me. It's there, and I read your story along with some others. So what was it like writing your chapter? And tell us about the book, Powerful Female Immigrants Who Inspire Greatness.
So Powerful Female Immigrants Who Inspire Greatness is like a composite of many different authors that share their story, whether they immigrated or they did it. I mean, they were immigrants, and kind of to encourage other women that it can be done. Our stories, even my story, is not unique. I would love to feel that it's unique, but it's not. Many of us and generations came here to the American dream. It really is true that we were told that the streets are paved with gold. Like, that's not a lie. That really is what people thought when they came to this country. So we came here to work very, very, very adamantly. Like, that's our biggest fortune to this country. And writing,
this country was built on immigrants.
100%, exactly.
There's certain people today that don't recognize that, but our country was built on immigrants.
Exactly. And my story, it was painful to write, to be transparent. It was because
How long did it take you?
It took me, actually it didn't take me that long, which was funny. It took me probably like 3 days to write it all out. It was just more, to edit it and make it sound conclusive. But it was a lot. Like my grandmother, when she came here, she's 4 foot nothing. God bless her heart, but she was a security guard at EWR in Newark Airport. And, that we woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning because unfortunately my mom had a mental health illness that actually one of the breaks that happened is because of ICE. Because that part is not in the story. Unfortunately, it's reminisced recently. It's that unfortunately the factory that she worked, which we all know the factory downtown that everybody works, they had a lot of raids and stuff, and it scared her to the point, unfortunately, for the anxiety and the nerves. We did eventually be able to get our papers and citizenship, but because the paranoia and the fear, unfortunately, that's one of the reasons that caused her psychotic break. So growing that, and then like I said, my grandmother and my aunt, we did the best we could, but that's what we were surrounded for, right? Like I always give you a lot of credit when I tell you of how you've improved Elizabeth, because downtown, I joke and I was like, we left political asylum in Colombia for bombs to come to 2nd Street for guns, but it was rough. It was incredibly rough. It was incredibly rough, challenging, but.
So on that point, you said to me, Angela, I'm going to date you now. You said, I've known you since the 3rd grade, is what you said. So you've seen the city change, and you've always made it a point that when we chat, you point that out. How have you seen it change?
I remember I went to Cleveland. Cleveland now is Terrence Riley, which is ironic because my daughter went there. So now I'm like, you have no idea the difference of Riley to Cleveland. But Cleveland was known as one of the worst schools. It was dangerous. There was one time that my mom would always walk me to school, which I hated because you can only imagine in middle school having your mom walk you to school. And one time I was like, I'm going to walk myself. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I go outside, and I'll never forget this. I see a sea. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what gang, but there was a sea of one gang on one side and a sea of it. And when I say sea, it's like very movie, like 100 and something. And I remember I was like, I went right back in. I was like, I'm going to go right back into the school. But that's what we unfortunately were used to. Now, you don't see that. Like, I sell in Elizabeth all the time. I'm in Elizabeth all the time, and I have no issues. Like, I have no issues. Like I said, everybody was afraid of shootouts. Like, it was rough. To now, we're selling properties in the $1 million. We have Jersey Gardens. I'm 100% dating myself. I was one of the original workers at Jersey Gardens. So listen, I'm telling you, I just, creams. But I said I was one of the original workers in Jersey Gardens because that was the greatest thing ever. That was the best thing. Like when you gave your speech recently, I was like, that was it. Like no one went there. It was no man's land. But now we had Jersey Gardens. You could go to the mall. Like it was exciting. And then everything's just, even from like property values. There was I remember a property that recently, one of my clients, I think she bought it for like $90,000. Thank God now she kept it. It was like it was a few years ago. She sold it for $450,000. That's a huge improvement. And now people want to live in Elizabeth. Unfortunately, like I remember before, like you would say Elizabeth and they would look at you and cringe. Like, oof, like that's where you go. And it's like, what do you talk? Like it was bad. And then now it's like even Morris Avenue, right? Like everybody wants to go to Morris Avenue. You want to go to Barcode, or you want to go to these places. And I'm like, and I love that. Like I've seen that, and I've seen that a lot of us, thank God, like we didn't forget Elizabeth. You know, like we always come back and we're like, hey, come here. Like I saw Elizabeth all the time. I'm like, hey, you'll like it. Like you'll see, you know, food. We have food. We have some of the best restaurants.
We do have food.
We have food everywhere. So it's great to have that honor, because so many of us were, even yourself, like we just worked so hard for this community. Like all of us, like I said, like a lot of us came from nothing. And we've just used capitalism to the best.
So the Elizabeth of today is better than the Elizabeth of your youth?
Yes and no. I'm grateful for the transition, but I'm also grateful for the community that we had, right? Like teachers, like I'll never forget her. I can't find her on social media ever, but her name was Miss Angela. She was in school 1, and she taught the young, because most of the moms were working. So there was no like after school programs. It was like, you either could afford childcare, which many of them could, but there were clubs. So everybody was in a club. We didn't know this at the time, mind you. Like most of the kids were like, no, parents were putting in the club because they had to work. So I remember she did the girls club, and she taught us like things that we didn't know. She would like, I can't remember the principal, but like she would teach us like, this is what you do. This is the deodorant you should wear. Like those fundamental things. And I love that. I still love that. Like I love the fact that our teachers always cared. The Colonel impacted my life so much. Like our teachers care. And that's where, thank God, a lot of us didn't go the opposite direction, because I wouldn't be here.
So the growing up in Elizabeth influenced the way you're doing business today?
Absolutely.
In real estate?
Absolutely. And I can speak to anyone. For multiple reasons, I'm blessed that it's taught me, well, number one, respect everyone, right? Because obviously you grew up in different communities and you had to respect everyone around you. 2, thankfully, Elizabeth wasn't against me speaking Spanish. So that helped, which tremendously, because now, while other... Do
you still speak Spanish, or did you
lose
it?
I'm 100% fluent, and I
know
write
if you lost it being here.
No. I'm 100% fluent, and I read it, which definitely impact the ability of how many people I can help. And I'll never forget my roots. Like, I'm so grateful. Like, we could have landed in any other part. And although there wasn't much, at the time, ironically, much diversity when I came, I love that now it's just, there's so much to offer.
So your journey and the story you wrote regarding your mother, your grandmother, how has that helped shape you? Because now you have agents working for you, right?
Yes.
You have other people who are going out there saying, I work with Angela and this organization. So how do you train those based on your background, Elizabeth?
Family, right? Community is big. Relentless. Be relentless. That was one of our biggest things. Like our teachers, I don't know if their students can handle our teachers now, but our teachers were not, they took no nonsense. There was no excuses. You didn't get this done? Why? Oh, well, it was late. I don't care. This would happen. It does not matter. That there was a no excuse mentality. That has 100% impacted all my agents. I have no excuses. I couldn't make it. I have no excuse. I was running behind. I didn't pay for parking. I will deal with my penance later, but no excuse. I'm not going to be late. So that's the biggest thing, like the no excuse, the relentless,
Colombian
the
is never
perseverance. I'm never late.
Oh.
But it's that, like, again, our teachers were no excuses.
You know that, don't you?
Is it? I think it's Spanish, but I think that's where I
we always kid people on Spanish time, right? So when you said you're never late.
Oh, no, I'm never late.
I'm like, wow.
That's also like the military side of me, probably.
That's true. That's true. You mentioned a role model in Miss Angela. Yes. Are there any others that you can think of growing up?
Absolutely. The biggest one, there was actually teachers, Mr. McGuire, he was from middle school. Mr. Miles, he's actually works for Raway board as well, if I'm not mistaken. Lieutenant Colonel Connolly will always be one of the biggest influences.
Good guy.
Amazing man.
Did you join ROTC or anything like that?
I did. I was the cadet commander,
okay.
Cadet major when I graduated from Elizabeth High School.
So you were probably out here with me on some of these ceremonies.
Yes, all of them.
Right.
I was with all of them.
Veterans Day, Memorial Day. all of that. Okay.
Yeah, I was there. It was I think he made. There's so many people, but I think Miss Polio for Italian, and Miss Corn. She was one of our English teachers, and I'll never forget. She was teaching us about the Holocaust, and I remember she's like, I didn't know where to start, and she's like, read Elie Wiesel's Night. And I said, okay, I'll read it. I read it, and my argument was very opposite because that's what the book was than I expected to her, and I still got an A later on to realize that she was a Holocaust survivor. And for me, that like impacted me so much because it was so the opposite of where critically thinking would be, that ever since then she just impacted like the way I think, the way I raise my kids, the way I teach agents. Like, you have to critically think. You don't believe everything on TikTok, don't believe everything anyway, just actually think. If you think, I will challenge you no matter what. You can, as long as you can argue and give me a good reason why you believe it, that's fine. But if you tell me because I saw this on social, no, I'm not.
So what's next for you, Angela? You write a book, you got success in real estate. Where do you go now? I know you're dating yourself, but you're too young to give it up, right? So tell me where you go next.
That, right? God willing, I continue to give back to the community. I want to continue to do that. That's our biggest focus. I know, like, we just did a back to school drive with my church in Elizabeth. I try to do things with the Elizabeth Homeless Coalition. I just want us to continue to do that, to not forget that. And then I would love, like I told you, like this conversation originally started, for our youth to see it. For our youth to see, like, listen, I grew up with nothing. English is still a second language to me. Sometimes my mind doesn't.
You do it well.
Thank you. English is a second language. I had every statistic to fail. And I'm so grateful, by the grace of God always, and perseverance to get there. So that's what I think our youth misses, that somebody from Elizabeth can do it. And we have so many people. I'm not unique of how many people have been so successful coming from Elizabeth.
So Angela, I want to thank you not only for sharing your book with me, which I enjoyed reading, but taking the time out of your schedule to come here, be on the show. You're an encouraging woman, and I think you have a lot to offer a lot of young ladies too.
Yay.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
I want to thank Miss Angela Zorro for that inspiring chat here on Our City. And for those of you looking forward, we'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.